Hello and welcome to the Recreate Play Cooldown Room with the Pit Crew. Hello cowboys and cowgirls. We're back from the Texas Grand Prix. Yeehaw. First of all, we got the Rhinestone Cowboy, Michael. Hustle's the name of the game, Vinyl. Beneath him, we got Ash, the Drugstore Cowboy. Never seen, never heard. Yeah, Shashin. We got Chris, the Midnight Cowboy. Chris, I'm walking here. And you've got me, Michael, the Vietnamese Brundle, the Bebop Cowboy. Excuse me, have you got a minute? That's my pickup line. All right. How'd we like those intros?
That was
That was
dope.
great. That was I pay that.
Loving it. I would have paid good
Alrighty.
money to get one of those made.
Right, let's get into it, boys and girls. So, welcome back from Texas, virtually. From the top, Ferrari 1-2. What do we think?
Yeah, the sleepers, great result. Great for Charles. Carlos looked great all weekend. Had a really great sprint, really great race.
Mm,
Yeah, good on them. And they're really closing in on Red Bull in the constructors as well. So Red Bull could be in third,
well,
could finish in third, right?
having one driver is actually starting to hurt them, despite being maxed.
Yeah, that's
Into
right. Despite
Mexico,
having 1.5 drivers on one
right?
hand.
Like
Yeah,
far
that's
out.
right.
I mean, a good Ferrari result, especially considering they were not expected to be up there. Everyone was talking McLaren, Mercedes, Red Bull, obviously. Even in the sprint, it wasn't
Yeah,
looking that way. And then bam, Ferrari 1-2.
yeah.
Where did it go right for Ferrari, Mike? What do we think?
Uh, I just want to say, first of all, I was really happy for Carlos. Like, Carlos is obviously getting towards the end of his Ferrari career. I'm really
Mm,
happy to see him get a good result. Uh, Feeling a bit emo, but yeah, I was really happy. But I'm not sure where Ferrari's pace came from. Like, it's like they were great in Monaco, they were great in Monza. Like, it doesn't sound that circuit specific, does it?
yeah, right. Like
Yeah,
fast
it's
track,
true.
slow track, they just it's not consistent as we noticed during the watch along, eh?
Yeah, it's true. Well, I think what
Absolutely.
a big part of where it went all right for Ferrari was the first corner. Like, I think that was a big help
Mm,
exiting the first corner in first place. Max and Lando were, and I think Charles probably knew that. He probably knew that Max and Lando were both going to be watching each other, and he probably knew that Max was like someone was going to hang someone out wide. So
yeah.
if he can just sneak up the inside, so yeah, I just think it all fell in all the cards fell in his place at the start, and he managed it really well. And the car had genuine pace.
Mm.
So yeah,
And
well
they went
done.
with the strat too. I mean, it seemed like
Yeah, you hit the
everyone.
nail on the head, Chris. I think afterwards,
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
yeah, I was going to say Chris hit the nail on the head because I think they interviewed Charles afterwards and they said that in the first corner, he was really focusing on just the exit. That's what his plan was, is just focus on
Yeah,
the exit.
Mm.
So he knew something was going down.
yeah. Well played.
Anything to add, Ash?
No, not really. Maybe when someone, I think it was Chris, talked about constructors. Constructors are you? I don't think Red Bull care about the constructors, man. Like they're happy to just concentrate on Max and winning the WDC. Constructors means
Yeah,
they get more wind tunnel time. So if they end up second or end up third, doesn't
Mm.
really matter. They get more wind tunnel time. So that's what I think is
yeah,
Off their
happening.
yeah.
nose.
It's
Yeah,
just
it's definitely
Yeah,
doesn't
not a
seem
good
prior,
like
point.
a priority.
not a priority. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, true. Good
Lando
point.
penalty. Let's get to Lando, guys. Far out. What do we think of this? This was interesting the way it unfolded. There's a lot to unpack here, man.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one.
There's a lot to unpack here. Okay, so
I've changed my mind several times on this
I
one.
have changed my
And I've,
mind too. I was going to do a split screen thing, but I think we'll just avoid the copyright infringement, so we won't go with that. But let's just assume everyone knows what we're talking about. I don't think Lando got the move done at the apex. But before we go into the technically, what are your first impressions of what happened at the time?
my first impressions live
Yeah.
were that Lando was making an overtake. Max was defending on the inside, but Max left the track
Mm.
defending on the inside, which technically should be forcing another driver off the track. So that was my initial thoughts.
Mm.
But having seen the replay, now I know that Max had the apex, so it was Max's corner. So I think it's really complicated. Like, Lando obviously left the track. I kind of feel like maybe they should both get a penalty. Like, Lando left the track,
Right.
overtook a driver, off the track, but Max forced a driver off the track. It's complicated. I'm not sure. I don't know where the rules stand.
Yeah, I
If you
think
can apply both of those to the
that
two
was
different
Stella's,
drivers in the same corner.
that was Stella's position too, because both cars went off the track.
Yeah.
Neither car was clearly ahead at the apex. Both cars gained the advantage, and so both cars were in the wrong. So how can you penalize one for,
Yeah.
ahead when both had Max stayed on the track, then it's a different story.
Yeah, but I
And
still think McLaren dropped the ball because McLaren made the mistake because they told Lando,
yeah,
like, live that, no, you were ahead of the apex.
I
And he
think
wasn't. He was half a car length behind at the apex.
I think that was
Max broke.
intentional.
Max broke earlier, realized Lando was going all in, and then let the brakes out to get the apex,
Yeah.
to secure the apex. Like, you can see that on the telemetry. Made sure he had the apex, and then slammed on the brakes to try and stay on track, but didn't achieve it.
Mike, before we
So-
get, what are your thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, like I think the crux of it for me is you can't complete an overtake off the track and expect that you're going to stay in the lead. Like Lando was the aggressor. He was the one that was overtaking, and you can't complete your overtaking move off the track, no matter what the other guy is doing, and expect to stay in front. Like, I don't think, like, it sets a really bad precedent if you can overtake off track and
Yeah, no, I agree. I
maintain
agree.
position.
I think the
McLaren
stewards
have got
position
them.
is that both cars. Let's just have a hypothetical, right? And they're on a straight, right? They're on a straight. Both cars are on a straight. The McLaren position is okay. If we were on a straight and both cars went off the track at the same time, one on the left, one on the right, and the McLaren car just happened to be in front, would we be penalized? You get me? So
Yeah, but that's not the scenario.
But it
They're
is.
not on a
It is.
straight. They're on a corner. One guy's on
But
the
that's their
inside. One guy's on the
hypothetical.
outside.
That's the
So it's a
hypothetical.
different scenario.
No, but that's
Like, I
their
don't think.
position. Let me finish. Let me illustrate it better then. Their position is that both cars gained the advantage and that they wanted to put the pressure on the stewards to make that decision.
Yeah, I understand their point of view. I think, but I think at the end of the day, it was a toss. That going down that route, it was a toss of the coin. So what they should have really done was gone, well, honestly, Lando, this is a 50-50. We don't know if we're going to get this call or not. You could get penalized. You're heaps faster. Give him the place back. We've still got 4 laps. Go get him again. So in hindsight, and obviously hindsight's a wonderful thing, but really in hindsight, that's what they should have done.
Judging
They
from
should have
the
said, give it
interviews
back to him and
after-
do it properly.
Judging from the interviews afterwards, they expected it would get to the stewards. They would get a chance to pitch their case. But that was a bit naive. They were never going to get that. They were never, especially when it's so tight for a podium finish. The stewards are always going to try and get a conclusive result before they get to walk up to the podium, before they get out of their cars, basically. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and I think so they should. So they should. Like, I think
Yeah.
if the rules, if they've got clear, decisive rules, you know what I mean? Like, the stewards should be able to look at the footage and, from a couple of angles, if it's really close, but they should be able to come up with a definitive decision pretty quickly. Pretty quickly. I think there's too many grey areas. I think they're backing
Mike,
themselves
what do you
into
reckon, Mike?
corners.
Yeah, like no, I'm just reminded, like when you're mentioning the overtaking on the straight. Remember how Ricardo got penalised in the French Grand Prix when he was driving for Renault, and he just stuck one. The French Grand Prix has basically no track limits apart from a couple of lines, and he went all 4 wheels off on the straight while doing an overtake, and they're like, slam dunk, you can't overtake all 4 wheels off. So, I mean, if he was overtaking
off the track. Whereas Piastri was doing the same thing, defending on the inside, but he stayed on track. But Piastri got a penalty, and Verstappen didn't. So that's what I mean. That's why I think there's some inconsistency.
So is that why Russell got the penalty then? Because he did the similar thing to Piastri. He stayed on the track.
Exactly. That's what I mean. It's not consistent. So it doesn't seem to,
It's confusing.
you know, yeah. It's like if you're defending on the inside and you stay within track limits, that seems fair to me. But if you're defending on the inside and you go off the track, that's the definition of forcing another guy off the track, isn't it? To me, yeah. So I don't know. I think they need to, and I think the FIA realizes that they need to work it out, and I reckon they need to have professional stewards, like full-time stewards, that, for consistency's sake, travel the world. You know what I mean? Maybe you can have a pool of guys. Doesn't have to be the same ones every race, but have a pool of guys, not just different guys every race.
All right, let's look at this. Can you guys see this?
Yes, we can.
Behind me?
Can do.
Huh?
Yep, can do.
Okay, so Piastri closes in on Gasly. He's ahead at the apex. Makes contact here. That's the only angle we have. And he's ahead afterwards. He finishes the move, but there is contact.
It's funny, Piastri sort of begrudgingly admitted that he probably deserved the penalty on that move.
Yeah. Should go back to the contact point.
As an aside, can't we just have Maldonado versus Hamilton, where it's even more clear cut?
Yeah.
We just need Maldonado to come back. We won't be doing the replays over and over, frame by frame.
Okay, so that's... I'm losing frames here. I'm dropping frames, sorry.
Okay. It looks good to me. But is there contact? I don't think there is contact. Piastri jumps over the curb, but
Yeah,
I don't
Piastri
think
jumped over the curb, took the line. I
I don't
mean,
think they don't touch. I think Gasly might have had to get out of it
But he certainly
to
did leave a
avoid
car. He
contact.
didn't leave cars, cars with the room. And there's the move.
But do you have to leave a cars with the room if you're overtaking on the inside?
If
Or do
you're
you just
not,
have to
if you're not
stay on the
clearly,
track?
if you're not clearly ahead at the apex, I think you do. Especially if you start you know what I mean? They're pretty much
Yeah.
parallel at the apex.
Yeah.
I hear Alonso in my ears.
I don't know. It's tricky shit, man.
I don't know, but like just when I see that, like every world champion
When
wouldn't
I
have
said
given
that
up
for
the corner.
Gasly,
Like
that
every
seems
world
okay
champion,
to
like
me.
whether it be Vettel or Senna or anyone, would have just gone, "I'm on the apex. I'm on the line. You're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're going to be
It's not your
offline.
corner."
But as long as you stay on track, right?
Hmm.
It's different though. If you do that, if you defend, whether you're defending or attacking on the inside, if you leave the track, I feel like that's different.
Oh, I agree with Chris. I agree with that 100%. But Piastri was
Yeah.
like that Piastri move looked legit to me.
Absolutely. But he got a penalty, whereas Max did something similar. The only difference is he was defending, right? So it kind of changes the context. But Max, all four wheels, he was on the inside, right? Like defending that piece of road, right? I kind of feel like it doesn't matter if you're defending or attacking, whatever piece of road on, you're kind of defending it, that line. And Max was defending that line, but Max clearly had all four wheels off the track. That's what the difference is, I think. Like Piastri stayed on the track, Max went off the track.
Yeah.
So I feel like Lando deserved a penalty for overtaking a guy off the track, and Max deserved a penalty for forcing a driver off the track. But I don't know if that's a possibility. If those two guys,
I like that. I like that because I
you know what I
don't
mean?
agree that I think I like that because I don't agree that that Lando deserved all the blame basically, and that Max's move was without fault. Do you know what I mean?
No, because Max,
It rewards Max
because what Max was
unfairly. It rewards him when he didn't complete the move cleanly himself. You know?
exactly. That's what I mean. He left the track. What he was effectively doing was making it impossible for another car to overtake him. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and that's kind of, I'm almost like, well, in
Okay.
some ways, is that like unsportsmanlike conduct or something? I don't know. Like, it's,
Mike, before we move on to the
I
next clip, any thoughts?
Yeah, like I suppose they brought up the example of Brazil where Max just went wide and made Hamilton go even wider. So,
Mm.
yeah,
as Chris said, like, it would be impossible to make a move
it's literally,
if
yeah,
one
that's
driver is
Max's,
clearly his intention is to leave because he knows what the limit of grip is. You know, he's obviously a talented
Yeah.
professional. He
Yeah.
knows how
Yeah.
much corner speed he can hold, and if he decides to go over that by 5% and leave the track and prevent an overtake by doing it, then yeah, it's not exactly, within the spirit of
All right.
defending, is it?
well,
All
that's
right.
what,
Sorry to
yeah.
cut you off, guys. Let's go to the next clip. Russell and is he a cunt or what, Bottas? Okay. So here's video clip 3, right? Let's have a look at this one. Consistency, inconsistency. That's the theme of the day, all right?
Yeah,
Mm.
Fortunately, I didn't get video of this. I've only got frames. So
that's all right.
let's have a look. So that's George behind.
Oh, oh, it's so tight. Who's got the apex?
And George cops a 5-second penalty for that as well.
Did George keep all four wheels on?
He kept all 4 wheels on, but he
Okay. I mean, two wheels on?
was
Yeah,
behind
okay.
here. Well, it's so hard
Oh, I
to
don't know, man. The
how do you
apex is
define
so
it,
tight.
right?
Yeah.
He
I,
believes.
I
I
think in
mean,
that case,
both cars.
Valtteri deserved the space.
Yeah.
I think
I
George
think
definitely opened the wheel up. Like George could have left him room.
Mike,
George opened the wheel up.
Mike, let's hear from Mike for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think from that, like, and from seeing George's onboard as well, is that he opened the wheel unnecessarily Rosberg style, if we can put it that way. Not as obviously as blatant, but I think that Valtteri deserved the space and could have been given the space as well.
A lot of incidents at turn 1. Sorry, Chris, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I totally agree. They both, George could have made the thing. It's because of the sequence of corners, right? Because the next corner is a right-hander.
Mm,
So if he doesn't run Valtteri out, then Valtteri's going to have the inside line for the next corner. So he's got to run him out wide to make sure that he's not, on the outside for the next corner if they're still neck and neck.
yeah,
Ahead
sorry
of him
about the
is
audio.
Esteban Ocon. There's Lewis Hamilton on the inside.
Let's look at another incident from the fucking weekend.
Sorry, what I'm looking at, what are you guys?
Hang on a second. Okay, so this is Albon. Albanese, we call him in Australia.
It's the first corner.
This is the non-penalty. Okay, so he didn't receive a penalty for this. Where's the consistency, guys?
Yeah, there's a lot of leniency in the first corner.
There's
Like
a
it
lot. I
seems
know,
like they're.
that's right. First
Oh,
corner being judged differently from other corners.
But you could say the other thing is Lewis came charging through on the inside. Look there, and Albon had to sort of drift out wide because Lewis pushed his way through the inside. So that's the thing on the first corner. They allow so much leniency because
That's right.
everybody's affecting everybody else.
That was
So
going to be my point, Chris. What's your point, Mike?
Oh,
Well,
sorry.
my point is the same one of like maybe Piastri turn 1 in Hungary, but anyway,
Yeah,
it's my
yeah,
inside. You guys
yeah,
deal with it.
yeah. I hear my corner
So much
now.
chaos going on, first corner. I guess they're always gonna judge this differently. But some people are saying, where's the consistency?
Yeah, I think that what it shows is when you have a great track like this,
Mm,
they're going to need to work it out because they're not used to having this great wheel-to-wheel racing, multiple corners, and they haven't had to deal with this for a long time. But they're going to have to work it out pretty soon because this is what people want. Yeah.
All right. So Max extends his lead in the Drivers' Championships. Can he fight McLaren for the rest of the year? What are your opinions, boys? What's happening for the rest of 5 more races to go, I think. We got Once Upon a Time in Mexico coming up. Ooh. What's happening, Mike?
Yeah, I don't think McLaren can close it down. You can replay this clip at the end of the year, and maybe I'll completely just eating my words. I'll be just like, hung out to dry. But like, you know,
They
there's
need to
just
make the
not.
most of
If,
every
if
weekend, I
if we
think.
look at America and
Mm.
we thought that okay, McLaren's going to have a resurgence at every race, it's going to be the same kind of status quo with McLaren's outright car pace dominating in the rest of the field, and then we saw Ferrari spring up.
Yeah.
So who I think there's too many variables to say McLaren's in this, position where they're going to charge for the championship. So I think Verstappen's going to be able to hold it.
Yeah. Chris?
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Yeah, like Ferrari looks really quick. It's not like McLaren is clearly the fastest car on the grid and is going to dominate for the rest of the year. Like, I think that's not the case. Max has proven he's really good at defending. He's smart. Like, he's not trying to win every race. He knows what he needs to do to win the championship. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's
Red
going to
Bull's
be
not going
really
to beat
hard for him.
themselves, right? Whereas McLaren, Ferrari, they can beat themselves. They sure can.
Exactly,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? So it's like it'll be tough. If you haven't got a lead on a team like Red Bull, it's always going to be tough to gain. And they're not making the most out of every weekend, which they really need to do on a sprint weekend, I feel.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
Red
I'm
Bull,
liking
sorry, Mike, go on.
I'm liking nothing to lose Carlos. I hope nothing to lose Carlos comes out more often,
yeah,
like in the
man.
sprint.
I
It's
love
like
it.
teammates. Oh, I don't mind having a bit of a go here. And in
They
the
need to
last
do it
races,
more
like
often. Like
exactly, just
they need
nothing to lose
cut,
Carlos. Just
threaten him with
hey,
a
bring him out the
Cadillac
bag.
at the end of every year. Let's get to Mr. Louis Hamilton. Has he checked
Yeah.
out for the year? I've get written here. He usually comes back stronger after the breaks. Head to head against Russell is 12-7 in races, 3-1 in sprints with Russell ahead. But Lewis is still 10 points ahead, so I guess that's how we'll always remember things. Not to forget Russell's DQ in Spa, but nevertheless, he has produced the points. He's got on the podium a couple of times. What's up with Mr.
10 points.
Lewis?
Yeah, 10 points isn't much though. Like,
It's not.
I think
But he
Russell will
has been
probably
outperformed.
finish ahead.
Russell's outperformed him on paper clearly this year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do we think of Lewis's performance? It seems like the last few weekends, he's been taking gamble strategies and it hasn't paid off at all. Last week, he
Yeah,
went with a hard tire against the grain.
Yeah, well, I think Ash made a good point earlier. He's like, well, he's done it all, man. If it's not a win, then it's probably not that exciting for him, at Mercedes. So might as well go for the big ones. Otherwise, what's the point? He's done it all. Probably just looking forward to getting the Ferrari. I do think that. But I still think he may have another win left in him before the end of the year.
I'd like to see it. I'd like to see him I really want to see a more of a head-to-head attitude from him against George, but it seemed like he checked out from that fight and wasn't going to give George the satisfaction of beating him in a way, mentally. Like,
Yeah.
he went with the whole, I'm going to try things out for the rest of the year. You didn't beat me, motherfucker. I didn't play. You know what I mean? Like, which is a bit disappointing. I want to see that. I just didn't want to see a smug George too. What do you think, Mike?
yeah. I think that he's lost that laser focus, Lewis of old as the season goes on. Like when they're saying that if you look at his pole record at the Circuit of the Americas, like the guy can clearly drive the circuit, and the kind of the lackluster qualifying performance. I think just reflects on just the slight lack of laser focus. Like obviously he's still focused, but not with that kind of like single-mindedness that like we've seen in the past, where he'd drag something out of the car, where now he's not dragging anything out of the
Yeah,
car.
dragging shit.
Yeah.
You know what he's dragging? The Lewis Hamilton Dior collection. That's what he's dragging. Lewis Hamilton crowned Motorsport's most marketable athlete for 2024. I thought we'd do something different today. We're going to look at his collection, which I have nicknamed Cultural Appropriation Casual Friday Collection.
I thought this was all AI generated. This is for real.
This is fucking for
Oh.
real, boys and girls. Check this shit out. Okay, what do we think of this outfit, boys? Something.
That's not bad. That's pretty decent.
that is like incredibly normal for Lewis. I just
Yeah.
want to say, I'm like,
Totally has.
I actually wouldn't know how to wear that. Usually, I'm like,
It's
man, the
velour.
stuff he walks.
Good background.
Yeah, I think he calls out, "I'm so butter" when he wears this. All right, let's look at the next one.
Is that his blue steel look? Yeah, that's more Lewis of.
This one
Please
pays
do.
this one pays tribute to his African roots,
I
i.e.,
was
the
gonna
African
say,
models that he's rooted.
yeah,
So we see these African touches here,
that's right.
cultural diverse.
What's with the backpack?
He's DEI with all the models he gets with.
That's called a front pack.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Number 3,
Oh,
right?
it's party time in the snow.
This one's called Two in the Pink, One in the Stink,
Uh,
for obvious reasons. Shall we,
I love it. I love it.
shall we move on?
Moving on.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't beat that, man.
This one is called How I Learned to Stop Worrying About the Bomb and Love the Brat.
Love the brat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is straight up confusing. This is like 90s hip hop music video with a snowboard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Weird, right? All the same pants, I think, too. Look at these pants. They make an appearance in every single one.
1, 2, 3. Yeah,
Okay.
he loves that brand.
This one's called
That's not
Neapolitan
him.
ice cream with a gay flag
Yeah.
as well.
With a slightly bolero cut to the jacket, because that's what all you need in the snow, isn't it?
And
Yeah.
I only ever wear my snow goggles on the side of my fucking eyes, like on the side of my
urban
head.
That's edgy, guys. All right. This one
Right.
is called McLaren LSD Fever Dream. What do we think of this one?
Oh,
Perfect for Mexico.
Right?
yeah, yeah.
Would you wear any of these
That's
clothes,
it. I'm
boys?
getting some papaya ayahuasca vibes.
The backpack's so boring. Like they're holding this black backpack, just like, oh,
But
I'm
it makes
editing.
it
Apart
makes
from
the
this, like,
jacket pop,
military
Mike. It
backpack.
makes the jacket pop.
Well, if you get lost in the snow, you'll at least be visible from the air with that stuff. So that's one good thing about it. Bright colors.
Yeah, true.
Avalanche.
And
So
that's
practical,
the
so practical.
collection.
The pinnacle
pinnacle of fashion,
pinnacle of
as we know it.
design, pinnacle of design in another form. Lewis knows no bounds.
In other news from the weekend, Lawson bringing the law, Cola Pinto bringing the cola. They kicked ass during the week, totally destroying their older, experienced, more expensive teammates. Let's bring it back. What do we think of Lawson and Colapinto? So just a summary, Colapinto started 15th, ended up 10th. Albon started 16th, ended up 16th. Lawson started at 19th, finished 9th, as opposed to Tsunoda, who started 11th and finished 14th. Wow.
Yeah, awesome. Like both awesome,
Wow.
super incredible, great
Yeah.
performances. Colapinto's been, I think, impressing everyone, like with his few drives, like super impressive, really aggressive. So good to see some South American blood back on the grid. First time in a long time.
Latin blood coursing
Yeah.
through the paddock.
Yeah. Lawson, like far out. This guy's seriously good. I think he's really impressed. I think I've heard Marco and Horner both really impressed with his performances. So the only big question for me is if he beats Yuki every race
Mm.
and has like one or two exceptional performances in the next 6 races, will he take Checo's seat if Checo keeps getting 8th, 7th, 8th? You know, like
I think it's looking like that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I agree with Chris. Yeah, I think it's looking like Lawson's end of season apprenticeship is well on the way. I
Yeah.
mean, also, I suppose it also reflects the strategy as well. Like they did a great strategy, started on the hard tire, ran longer
Yep.
than anyone else. He saved the tires, used
Yeah.
them in free air, pitted, was already ahead of Yuki after his first pit stop. Yuki was, how did this happen?
Yeah, Yuki was
And
Yeah.
furious. Like, tell me how this happened. Yeah. And
and
The word
and his team said they're faster
Chris
than we
was saying,
thought. Hmm?
mm, mm.
Yeah, their
And Colapinto's got a
response
huge
was
fan
he was
base.
fast.
Mm. Like
yeah,
after
that's
the
right.
race, like Colapinto had like mobs, like the mob on the main straight. They had
Yeah.
the security had to tell him to get down because there was so many people just like wanting autographs and photos, and yeah, he's had such a following. So
Yeah.
yeah, even
Right.
in his junior years in Formula One, he's already, a bit of a star.
Yep. Star of the future, that's for sure.
Did you guys
Both of them,
happen to see
I think. Yeah.
did you guys happen to see Brundle and Colapinto on the grid?
Yeah, yeah.
All
But
right, I've got,
that's when you know you're a star, when you can brush Martin Brundle on the
right.
grid walk.
All right,
Then you've made it.
I've got the clip here. I'm gonna play the TikTok. Let's have a look.
I didn't see this.
Oh, you
Yeah,
haven't seen it? Okay,
it's
this
funny
is
eyes.
gold.
No,
Hold up.
He even introduced himself.
Hold up, hold up.
Martin Brundle famous for the I can and I just did.
Hang on.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Have a listen, have a listen.
And I've never actually met. Hello, my name's Martin Brundle. Sky, we haven't met. A quick chat? Oh, well. No, I think is the answer to that.
Wow. Brundle gets brundled.
Can't be too hard on him.
That brings me
Nah, well, man, I've got somewhere to be.
Yeah, exactly.
No, the fans didn't like it though. The fans were like, "How dare you disrespect a living legend like Brundle?" But the dude wasn't having
That's only the English-speaking fans.
it.
That's it.
It's only the English guys. Like, yeah,
I'm-
I don't think
How
his
funny is that,
compatriots
though?
would have cared too much.
It shows the
I
man.
think, as
is
you guys
locked
said,
in.
like other places to be. Like if your Williams engineer told you had to be somewhere a certain time, and you're the new
Yeah.
kid, and you're like, "Sorry, I'm late by 5 minutes. We couldn't do the brief before the race. I was just chatting to some guy on the grid." They'd be
No, I
like,
like it.
"Yeah, maybe."
I like it. I like that he's locked in and he's not like, oh wow, selfies with Lady Gaga. He's just on his job. And I think that speaks to his mindset, right?
Yeah,
Well, he
I agree.
knows.
Yeah,
He's got to make it
Focused.
work right now in this short period of time he's got. He's just got to do the maximum.
got to
he can.
maximize.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, gotta take
maximize
it.
every moment.
So yeah, and as a selling point to other teams, it's like this guy is locked in. He's not getting distracted by the hoopla. Other teams will be looking at him.
He's so
hopefully.
calm during interviews. Like I thought that he was on the verge of falling asleep during one interview. Like he was just so calm. Like this guy's got some narcolepsy or something. Like he's just gonna fall asleep.
I don't
So
know.
calm.
That's
Piastri
a,
and
yeah, they're all
Lawson
these guys.
are cold-blooded to
they're
the
all-
point of
They're all
like,
chill, man.
wow.
Yeah,
Is that because they've got so much experience in the junior formulas and they do a lot more media work these days? Is that a factor?
yeah, I think so. I think they're preps.
Collective.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
think
whole
they're
different
they're just-
generation. I don't know kids these days.
yeah. I think it's a combination of they're prepped, and it's also that F1 drivers these days are probably more middle to upper middle class, so they're probably more educated as well. They got a bit of money around to get them to where they've, to F1.
Yeah.
There's not many poverty-stricken guys. There's some working-class kids. It's true on the grid, but not many. So they're all pretty well educated as well, and know a bit about the
I think Yuki
game.
needs a bit more prep though. Like I didn't realize that was offensive in your language.
Yeah. Fucking retard.
He knows, man.
Country retard is okay.
We're gonna get cancelled, man.
I was going to say I didn't.
Hey,
I
we're
didn't
just
use
saying
the
what
word.
they
I just
said.
said
I was only
you said
quoting.
you
I was
didn't
only
realize the
quoting
gravity of
someone
your
else.
Just
language.
quoting.
just to give some context.
Exactly. We need a
Nice.
report to use, not make it.
Not
All
my
right, let's go on
feelings.
to McLaren versus Red Bull. An off-track war of words. Red Bull's closing in 40 points in the Constructors' Championship. Zach says there have to be consequences for the actions of the violations with regards to the bib. Max says stop complaining. This sounds like my parents. I can quote those those two, to attribute both those lines to my parents. This is coming to a head. What do we think of the war of words between these two constructors?
Ah,
You know, I like to
it's
see
always
it from Zach. I think this is him finding his feet as you know, a principal for a contending team. We've seen Toto and Horner play this game throughout the years, jostling for
Yeah.
position, knowing that it might pay off down the line. I think Zach's cutting his teeth here and starting to, you know, I need to
Oh, yeah.
put my elbows out.
Yeah, but he's not the principal
Politically.
though. He's the CEO. He's
Oh, he doesn't
Estella's the
care.
principal.
Yeah,
Yeah. Nah.
you know what I mean.
I hear what you're
doesn't-
saying, Mike.
I know what you
hear your
mean.
But we
But
haven't
I
heard
think he's a
much
bit
of
of a
him play this
blowhard,
game in
man.
the past. You know what I mean?
Well, he hasn't had the position to, but he just comes across as a blowhard, man. Zach, he's just like there to make noise, just hot air. Stella's more calm and collected, that's more factual based. Zach's just like headline grabber, sensationalizes everything and goes to the maximum instead of being, sticking
Yeah,
to the facts.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But I do think they both have their role. I mean, yeah. I'm sure Zach's good at what he does within McLaren, within
It's a
the
two-pronged
group.
attack.
He must be
In
good
terms
at what
of
he
the
does, man.
in
Because
terms of
he's
the war of the world, war of words that's going on between the two constructors teams, what do we think of that? Much ado about
it's
nothing
just
or
inevitable.
something?
Nah. It's just talk. They're always going to bitch about each other when they're close to each other. I don't think there'll be anything will come of it.
Mike?
They'll keep bitching for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think it is just sort of white noise that kind of fills in some of the gaps. But yeah, I think it is interesting to contrast. Like, I think I like listening to Stella. Maybe I don't agree with everything that he says in his viewpoints, but he's very articulate
Very well
in the way
considered.
that he thinks and puts things forward. Like, just think him as a team principal versus Gunter Steiner, like interviewed about the same kind of thing. Like, it's a completely different tack to the way that you present and articulate things about your team. I suppose that spreads throughout the whole team culture. And we found
Yeah.
like a much more calm Haas with Aya Komatsu, steering the
Yeah,
ship.
Yeah. Well said, Mike. Good point.
good point. All right, let's wrap that up and look ahead to next week. We got Once Upon a Race in Mexico coming up. What are our predictions? What are our takes? What's going to happen, boys? As we have was this the final race in Americas? No, we have Vegas coming up, don't we?
Brazil.
Yeah,
No,
Vegas still.
We got Vegas, we got
Yeah.
Brazil, so never mind. I take it back. We got lots
Yeah.
of But Mexico coming up.
Mexico.
Well,
Check out a Bennett.
yeah.
Mike?
You reckon?
Pressure.
Mike,
He'll
let's start with Mike. Let's hear from Mike.
Yeah, I mean, it's always the strange one of the aero efficiency. Who's the king of aero efficiency in Mexico?
Yeah.
And
Stadium section.
so Red Bull's always had that, high downforce efficiency package, but does McLaren, like, it's basically the question is who's best with high downforce? And I don't know. I honestly don't know the answer to that question. Like, what do you guys reckon? Who's the best with high downforce?
Who kicked us in Hungary? That's the high downforce proper racetrack. You know what I mean? Like that's the.
Let's have a look.
There's
That
Hungary and
I'm
Monaco,
Google.
right, for high downforce packages. So Hungary would be there. Whoever kicked butt at Hungary would be
Oscar
there.
and Lando, McLaren 1-2.
Yeah, McLaren, right?
Okay. Yeah, right. So yeah, McLaren, Norris in with the show for sure.
And it's just going to be Williams with no downforce sliding around the place. Aston with lots of downforce and just terribly slow on the straight, I presume.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I wonder
you
if
pretty much said it.
it'll be interesting, I suppose, to see how Max can withstand the challenge, which is he's obviously up for the challenge, but yeah.
Defending three
Yeah,
times.
I'm trying to remember. Are there long straights like at Mexico? Like,
Yeah, there is.
like
There
it's
is.
still
There's a
long
super
straights,
long
right?
straight.
It's not like you can still,
Kind of like
go
kind of
low
like
down
bending.
force.
Long.
Like they're kind
It's
of
long.
arcing.
Yeah, so you can go low down force or high. That's why it's sort of interesting because you can, you
Yeah.
can
have that
sacrifice
stadium
one
section.
sector or the other sector, depending on your car's strength. So
Yeah, I
can still
think
be
they said
interesting.
They crank
That
on
stadium's-
Monaco downforce, but the actual net effect is the same downforce as Monza. Like it's
Yeah,
something
yeah,
exactly.
crazy because of thin air.
Yeah.
Oh, the thin air.
See,
All
Speaking
above
of
sea
thin
level.
air, what do we think about?
so again. Oh,
Predictions.
Huh?
Sorry. What do we think about predictions? Was that what you were saying? Or
Yeah. Give us a 1, 2, 3. Mexico.
wow.
I'm gonna go Max 1, Lando 2, Oscar 3.
ooh,
What
I'm
about
going to
you
go
guys?
Oscar 1, Lando 2, Max 3.
Okay. Okay, sounds familiar.
I'm gonna go Charles 1, Max 2, Lando 3.
All right. These will come back to haunt us in a week's time. What do you
Are you
reckon?
sure, Chris? Does Ferrari have a high downforce package? Like, okay, Charles
Yep.
is
Yep.
an amazing driver at Monaco and you can find the speed, but have they got the high downforce package? I thought they couldn't crank it on, mate.
He's gambling.
Let's find out, Mike. Let's find out together
Okay.
in a week's
Actually,
time.
Lewis to win, man. Lewis, I'm putting Lewis.
We got 4 constructors, boys. This
Wow.
is great. That's why we
Yeah,
love
Lewis.
F1.
that's why we
Lewis come
race the
back.
races. Ashley, you got 1, 2, 3.
Lewis. Hey, I got Lewis come back number 1, Max number 2, and Norris number 3, just to be different. But
Hey,
yeah,
I'd be happy with that.
I think Hamilton's got to get some form because he loves to do well at Brazil. So yeah, I figure he's gonna pull out some big ones, start taking it a bit, finish off his career with Mercedes with a bit more oomph.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
cool.
All right.
And a bad result at Texas, I feel, will motivate him to do so.
All right, cool. Let's wrap it up there, guys. We got anything else to add?
No, I think looking forward to it, man. Looking
Yeah,
forward
looking
to
forward
it.
to Mexico. Mexico is always
It's
good
gonna
fun.
be like intense. It's like 5 races in a very short period of time. It's gonna be
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Looking forward to it.
I don't think we'll
Yeah,
do. I
looking
don't know
forward
if
to
we'll be able to do a
Mexico.
watch along, but we'll definitely do a recap, something like this, in a week's time. The timing's tricky for us in Australia, so I don't know if we'll do a watch along. Maybe a
Yeah.
couple of us can, but we'll see.
I can make it, but yeah, I know it's tough for other guys.
We'll
So
keep you guys posted. Anyone who's watching, but you guys want to say goodbye? Anything else?
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Look
Thanks for
forward to
watching.
your company
Thank
next
you, everyone
time.
who's watching.
Thank you,
Appreciate
guys. Appreciate it. Catch you next time.
See you
Ciao.
guys.
Adios, muchachos.
Adios.
Like this is how Lando and Max are gonna pass each other from now on. Neither is gonna give a fucking inch. They're gonna run each other out of road. There's gonna be no clean passes unless it's max DRS and they've got, way too much speed. From now on it's just gonna be off the track, like guys are running each off the road. Like stewards need to work this shit out really quickly to make it, like we don't want to see them running each other off the road. We want to see them trying to overtake on the track, right? Like, shouldn't be an argument that we're having.
So who had
Yeah.
fairer battles, Max versus Lewis or Max versus Lando?
Oh, Max
That's a tough
Lewis
one,
got
man.
dirty.
Yeah, but it was good at the same time.
Exciting, yeah.
His buddy
It's the
with
same.
Norris makes it different this time because it was venom between those two, Lewis and Max. Whereas now it's it's like it's a different dynamic off the track between
It's a different
Lando
dynamic, that's for sure.
Because
Yeah.
Hamilton had to play hard. He was like, I'm going to
Yeah.
hit the guy and put my car
Yeah.
there, and there's going to be contact. Because otherwise, if I give the inch, like Lando's
Yeah.
giving the inch,
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
going to
yeah.
happen. He's going to run me off the
Well,
road all the
Lando,
time.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's the thing.
point.
Lando's willing to try around the outside. You know what I mean? Lando's not dive bombing the inside, going, well, if you shut the door, we're going to crash. Lando's not doing that. Lando's like, well, if you're taking the middle inside line, well, I'm going to go the long way around and try and do it the hard way. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think both
I feel
drivers
like they
are
both.
prepared to finish the race, whereas Lewis and Max, if I'm going, you're coming with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah, you're right.
with me, motherfucker. And we had
Yeah.
like 3 or 4
Well-
things together. We had like
Monza,
Monza,
Brazil.
Silverstone.
Yeah, but I still feel like same car, Like same car, Max is always going to win that fight.
Really?
Max is always going to win that fight. Yep.
Against Lewis?
Against Norris or Lewis, yeah.
Against who, Chris?
Chris?
Chris? Is he frozen or has he had a cerebral palsy?
I don't know. You can hear me, right? Yeah.
I
I
can
was
hear
wondering
you.
who he was referring to. But we lost
Has
final as
Chris had
well.
a stroke? Chris, are you okay?
Final?
I'm just joking.